Alright guys, we are now off to the races with the new console reveal coming from Nintendo, which is Nintendo Switch 2. These guys just shadow dropped the reveal just last week, and many people were saying, oh, these are just rumors, this is not happening at all. People are getting too excited for this, but no, they actually have done it, and people are now talking about what to expect when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, and I definitely want to give you my thoughts and opinions on it, because this is going to be a wild ride as far as speculation is concerned, and how it would stack up against Sony with the PS5 and Microsoft with the Xbox Series X. So before we even dive into this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, notification bell for more gaming content here on this channel. So we're going to dive into this video. Now, for starters, man, when it came to the Nintendo Switch 2, I kept saying that it has to come in 2025. You can check out all my other videos that I've done, especially in 2024, that it has to come in 2025 for the simple fact is that, hey, we're pretty much going into a decade or a little bit over a decade since the Switch has been out. And I kept saying that, you know, Nintendo has just been waiting for the right moment to pretty much release their next generation Nintendo Switch. And I said it makes sense. If the console is already making money, which is the Nintendo Switch 1, if it's already making money and is destroying the game right now, if it's just dominating in the market right now, why put out a successor right away? Especially when its competitor, and I'm going to be honest with you, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, I'm going to be quite honest with you, man, there still haven't been any titles that say, hey, it's time to make that leap over into the next generation of consoles, which is why a lot of people still are holding on to their PS4. And if the consoles are still, or these competitors, which is Sony and Microsoft, more specifically Sony, is still doing cross-generational games, then what is the point to make that leap over when you can still hold on to the console that's affordable, that you still have a massive library for, and everything? So in my personal opinion, Nintendo didn't really have that need to make that rush to move over to the next generation when it comes to their hardware. But here we are now. We have the Nintendo Switch 2. They pretty much has just shadow dropped it on us, and there were some mixed feelings about this as far as how some people felt underwhelmed by the reveal that they just put it out there. And I'm gonna be honest with you too, I had no idea that the Nintendo Switch 2 was pretty much announced. I woke up, got on Twitter, just do my normal things, post, you know, hey, my new videos are up and everything, go check it out. Did my DMs, reading them and everything, and moving on to other things. And then out of nowhere, I noticed to see RGT85, Dreamcast guy, player Essence, thumbnails popping up in my recommendations saying, here's a Nintendo Switch 2. Well, when I see RGT85, I thought he was trolling at first. And I was like, no, is this real? And I'm gonna go check. I said, no, in fact, it is real. Like, how did Nintendo just shadow drop this console on us and then just walk away and off into the sunset, which I found kind of like wild right there. But yes, some people felt underwhelmed by that, you know, and I can understand why people feel that way. But my personal concern and what's really important for me is the fact is that, hey, okay, we see the Switch 2. I just want to see the games now, and I can't wait. Now we have to wait until, I believe, around April to actually see what the hardware is capable of and what games are going to be releasing during its launch year or just the launch window in general. So that's the thing I really want to talk about here. What can we expect? What kind of games should we see? And what moves could they be possibly making? Now, I will say this. I believe when it came to this shadow drop of the Nintendo Switch 2, I think this was like a preemptive move, because we've been seeing a lot of people leaking out the information. I think during CES, we started seeing Nintendo Switch 2 accessories coming out. I just think there was like miscommunication, or I guess developers doing what the hell they wanted to do, and it just started going out of control, and now Nintendo had to pretty much silence it or get ahead of it before any more things had leaked out or spilled out by accident or whatever. So that's why I think why this shadow drop has happened, so they can get ahead of everything. So now that we do have this information, and as we're leading up to April, this is the best part of being a gamer, is when a new hardware is being revealed and you get down to the nitty gritty of what can we expect from the games. Now, in my personal opinion, I just think if Nintendo had pretty much replicate what they had done with the Nintendo Switch 1 in terms of how they release and how they start off their launch titles, I think, or their launch window, I think they can have a pretty good head start, you know, as far as that's concerned. They need a cross-generational game to match that. And I think that we're already going to have Xenoblade Chronicles X is coming out for the Nintendo Switch 1, but there'll also be something nice to have for your Nintendo Switch 2 as well. And what they definitely need, we already seen videos from the reveal itself that look quite possibly a new Mario Kart game, which is Mario Kart 9. Many people are speculating, and like I said, I haven't bought Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the Nintendo Switch, so when I seen the footage, I thought maybe that's just Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC and extra things and stuff like that, but people are saying that it may possibly be Mario Kart 9. So I think that's going to be the smartest thing they can possibly do, that you can launch the Nintendo Switch 2 with Mario Kart 9, because many people were wondering, hey, you know, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe been out for a long time, then they added the extra tracks DLC, and he pretty much made that game run all the way through Nintendo Switch 1. And I already told you guys, you have to check out my videos. I already told you guys that it made no sense to release Mario Kart 9 on the Nintendo Switch 1 is because Mario Kart Deluxe is making a killing. It's like one of the top selling games, you know, of all time for this generation, Mario Kart 8. So it just doesn't make sense to put a Mario Kart 9 to eat into and be their own competitor with their titles. It just doesn't make sense. So Nintendo might as well bleed out Mario Kart 8 as much as they can before moving on to the successor, which is Nintendo Switch 2. So yes, if they happen to launch, and that happened to be a launch title, Mario Kart 9, that by itself, that alone, and plus we also get a chance and the opportunity to see what the new Nintendo online service is going to be, or how their online is going to be handled, especially if Mario Kart 9 happens to be that launch title for everybody to be able to get their hands on. And you know me, I'm definitely going to pick that up if that's definitely going to be in that launch title or within the launch window itself. So I think they'll have a pretty good head start to be able to push Nintendo Switch 2 sales in that department. Now, as far as a new Mario game, will we get a new Mario game this year around the holidays? Because we already have speculations. There were some leaks or some rumors. Don't know if it's true, so take it for a grain of salt that the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to probably run around $400 and release July 1st. Like I said, this is just rumors. Not sure if it's true. If you want to look into it, look into it. But yes, so if that is the case, I think Mario Kart 9 would be a good summer release, if to be as a launch title for people to play. But as far as a new Mario game itself, I believe that would make a good holiday release. I respect the holiday releases where we start seeing some juggernaut titles, and it all depends on how Nintendo pretty much spaced those out. I believe that we do get a Mario game, this launch year. I believe we'll probably get around the holidays, probably Thanksgiving holiday or maybe the Christmas holiday, but that's something for them to actually work out. As far as third party is concerned, I think third party is what really matters the most. I know first party is awesome. I mean, Nintendo fans, including myself, are always going to pick up those first party. But people who just want to go beyond the first party games that Nintendo has to deliver, people want to know what their third party lineup is going to be. And I think this is a perfect time, especially once we get a pretty good idea where it stands, the console itself stands as far as power is concerned. And I think that it will be awesome to see what lineups do they have as far as third-party support. So I believe that if we do get third-party support, it'll be awesome to see titles maybe like Elden Ring. Well, now, I mean, Sony does have somewhat control over From Software, so they may not even be a thing. But let's say if that is a thing, that we get something like Elden Ring to come to the Nintendo Switch. I think that's something that people would definitely grab. And plus, it could be like a deluxe edition of Elden Ring, because now it would come with the DLC and everything included, like the expansion and everything, and they can sell it like at full price or maybe at $60 or something like that. I think that will also make people go out and buy a Nintendo Switch knowing that Elden Ring is coming out for it. And then how about we do a Resident Evil 8? I think that'll be something that people will probably want to go grab. Also, how about Final Fantasy 7 Remake? Now, I know that's a little bit of a stretch, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, but we already have Square Enix talking about how they want to get more of their IPs being non-exclusive and start putting them on multiple platforms. I think Final Fantasy 7 Remake Trilogy will be something to get people to want to grab the Nintendo Switch 2, or if it's not Final Fantasy 7 Remake, also Final Fantasy 16. I think that'll be I think that would surprise quite a few people, including myself, that Final Fantasy 16 is one of the first non-PlayStation or non-PC platforms to see that game make its appearance before even Microsoft themselves. So if we get that third-party lineup, that's pretty strong. Or hell, like Cyberpunk maybe 2077. I know I'm going crazy with this, but I'm just throwing darts out there of possible third-party games that the Nintendo Switch 2 can possibly get to get people excited and want to grab the Nintendo Switch 2. And now they can, and plus, I mean, it's a hybrid console, it's portable, and these are games that you can play on the go. So I know I'm getting ahead of myself, and maybe I'm dreaming too much, but I'm just talking about the things and the possibility that this could possibly happen. This is what Nintendo Switch 2 would possibly need in order to get ahead. You have your first party titles, you also have your third party titles that have already released on the other platforms but couldn't release on the Nintendo Switch 1 because the Nintendo Switch 1 hardware couldn't handle it. So now they can have that filler content and also introduce it to Nintendo fans who don't have either of those consoles. And I think that's a win-win situation. Now, as far as Wii U ports, I think Nintendo has essentially run out of worthy Wii U ports for them to port over as deluxe or remaster editions for the Nintendo Switch 2. I could possibly be wrong, but I think they pretty much have run that well dry. I think most of the gems that was on the Wii U have pretty much essentially been used all up as far as that's concerned. Now, what can they do to replace that? I think that would be something for them to further look into. But I believe that if they open up as well when it comes to their virtual console, I think they need to come out the gate saying that, hey, we're going to have some GameCube games. We're going to have some, of course, Game Boy Advance, NES, SNES out the gate. And maybe, just maybe, you probably have some DS games, because we do have the touchscreen and everything for the Nintendo Switch. So I don't know. Let's see how that works out. But I think they come out the gate having some of those games available on the console. I think that'd be pretty cool. Now, as far as Zelda is concerned, I think we may not get a new Zelda this year, but I think a good holiday release would be something like Wind Waker for the Nintendo Switch, a remaster that was ported over. We did talk about Wii U. I think that'd be something from the Wii U they can bring over, the Wii U port over of Wind Waker, put that over as a holiday release as well for the Nintendo Switch 2, because I'll definitely pick that up and definitely have that. But the thing I do want to address too is their backwards compatibility. Now, people were saying, and it was mentioned that some games for the Nintendo Switch 2 may not be backwards compatible, so you have to check in. We'll find out what games are backwards compatible. But in my personal opinion, I think that's because there are certain games that were specifically made for the Nintendo Switch 1 Joy-Cons and other type of games like 1-2 Switch, Ring Fit, and things like that. I think games that needed the hardware or took advantage of the Nintendo Switch 1 hardware, such as those games and many more in that category, I think those are the games that may not work for Nintendo Switch 2. But we want to wait and see once we actually see the presentation to find out how all that works, because I think it would be a bummer that we still get to a point to where we have backwards compatibility, but it's not full backwards compatibility, which means that I would still have to have my Nintendo Switch 1 to dig into my backlog. But I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm just hoping that it's just some games that just took advantage of the hardware of the Nintendo Switch 1 hardware can't be used for Nintendo Switch 2. Now, let's talk about those Joy-Cons real quick. The Joy-Cons has that Hall effect, which means now we no longer have to deal with these Joy-Con drifts. Now, to be honest with you, I never experienced Joy-Con drifts. One is because I'm more so game with my Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and most of the time my Nintendo Switch is always docked into the docking station, so I don't really use the game portable at all. It's more so docked into the docking station, so I don't really use Joy-Cons. And my problem with the Joy-Cons as well, they just feel too plasticky. They feel too soft. They feel like a toy, and sometimes I'm afraid that I'll break it. That's why I don't really touch the Joy-Cons. I'd rather just stick to the Pro controller, and the Pro controller just feels so much more comfortable and everything like that. So I'm hoping that maybe I get more uses out of the Joy-Cons this time with the Nintendo Switch 2. I just hope they feel more durable, or they feel less plasticky, and have more restraint to them and feedback to them or whatever like that. But the fact is that it has Hall effect That's going to eliminate a lot of the Joy-Con drift that many people had issues with out the gate, especially when people were pretty much just fiending on the Nintendo Switch 1. So hopefully that fixed a lot of those things, and I'm looking forward to as well seeing what other games are going to be available. But that's pretty much my overall thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2. It definitely does got me excited, and I can't wait to see how powerful the hardware is going to be. As I said before, it just need to be competent enough to allow me to run games in 1080p 60 frames per second, or a good majority of games, especially Nintendo Switch 1 game, to as well run at 60 frames per second and everything. I don't care much for 4K at all. I just want a great smooth performance when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, and it just needs to be competent enough to play a good majority of titles that the PS5 and the Xbox Series X were able to play. And I think they'll do pretty good with that, with the third-party lineup that they have. So that pretty much wraps up this video. If you enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about Nintendo Switch? Do you think it has what it takes to be able to compete with Microsoft and Sony themselves, or do you think they're just in a league of their own? Do you think the Nintendo Switch 2 is just going to just dominate this year? So definitely let me know. So if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe button for more gaming content here on this channel. This is MugenLord signing off. I'll see you Game Fiends later. Peace out.